Yep, this old tree, this old fella right here, he's like an old friend. Welcome to my office, folks. Today is the 25th of January 2019, which means it's the official release day of my new album, Soul of the West. And before you get to hear it, at least I hope you're all going to get to hear it, I thought you might like to know a little bit about some of the people that were involved in making it possible. I'm going to start to tell you a little bit about my co-producer, Mr. Darren Allison, or the Geordie Genius, as I like to call him. From my point of view, Darren and I met some years ago now, and found we hit it off immediately. Found that we shared a common love for a good song, simply sung well, to the backing of well-recorded instruments. This album is completely acoustic, and I'm so pleased with the way that we've accomplished what we set out to do and make a record that's really as pure as the driven snow. And with Darren's help and expertise, every last ounce of the purity of those instruments you'll hear on this album. So I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart for that, and I mean that genuinely. Darren is, without doubt, the finest recording engineer and producer that I've ever had the pleasure to walk into a recording studio with. So anyway, moving on to the musicians, because there would be no music without they. I'm going to start with our lead guitarist, Mr. Dave Luke. So what can I tell you about the top boy? Well, he's from the Garden County of Kent, the fair town of Dartford, but he now resides in a rather lovely part of South Wales. So some of you, you may recognise Mr. Luke from his work with Gail Davies and others, and both here and over in the big country. He's trod the boards at the Ryman and the Opry. I'm not very jealous of that. But all across this record, you're going to hear the magic of this guy playing on his 1957 015 Martin, which I have to say has become like a kind of a mythical object in our band. It's kind of like, we look at it like Excalibur. But any of you who've seen us play live over the last couple of years will bear testament to the talent of Dave Luke. His guitar playing is quite simply divine. So I can guarantee you will not be disappointed with the work of Mr. Luke on this record. Now, I'm going to move on to our double bass player, the incomparable Miss Connie Everard. What can I tell you about Connie? She's from Portsmouth, a real Pompey lass, and she is probably one of the hardest working bass players of any genre that I know. But from my point of view, she's been with me since the beginning of my dream, really, to put this whole Western band together. And she's an integral part of everything we've done. Her finesse and her style of playing fits perfectly into the songs, both my original songs and our versions of some of the greats from the Western Songbook. She's got an understanding, really, of the light and shade that's required in playing pure Western music. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work with her from the beginning, and long may it continue. And so come to the backbone, I suppose, of our band, which is, of course, Mr. Danny Kelly. Those of you who've seen us live over the last few years will bear testament to Dan's skill with that single snare and that set of brushes. Sometimes not even that. Sometimes just an egg shaker. On occasions, a bit of cling film over a biscuit tin. But whatever he does it with more skill than many do with 20. So, but more than that, Dan he's my oldest friend, and he's been with me since the very beginning. In fact, it's really because of him that I'm doing this. So you can blame him, really. But there we are. That's my Western band, of which I'm very proud. But I'd also like to give a big shout out to Nick Evans, who played some absolutely wonderful dobro on this album. Many of you will probably remember Nick from my first Western album, Riding After Midnight, of which he was a massive part. A fine musician and a great friend. And finally, two guys I had the pleasure of working with for the first time on this record. Mr. Rick Bembo, who did a marvellous string arrangement for us on the closing track, Joshua's Yellow Boy, and also a fine French horn player by the name of Quentin Hutchington, who we had a fantastic afternoon recording in a church up in North London. And again, you'll hear Q, as he likes to be known, on the closing track, Joshua's Yellow Boy. So there we have it. That's the people involved in the making of this album, of which I'm extremely proud. Western music, along with Western literature, film, everything really has been at the centre of my life really since childhood, and everything I've done musically, it's always been there in one form, shape or another. Having said that, I've learned over the last few years since starting seriously to put this together that being a UK based artist who's serious about writing and releasing original Western music, it can be a real minefield to say the least. But having said that, the support and the encouragement that I've received from around the world, from the United States, home here in the UK, Europe, Scandinavia, everywhere, that support and that encouragement has really given me the drive to forge ahead and make this new record and put everything that I can into it. And I hope when you hear it for yourselves, you'll hear that that belief really that what we're doing here is right. All the songs that I've written for this album, they've really come together in their own good time. They're all born of various moods and situations. For instance, the title track, Soul of the West, I wrote the first line of that song while I was in the Northwest US some years ago. And that line sort of hung around on a bit of paper for some years. And then one evening I finished it back here, leaning against this tree. Some of the other songs on the album, which are a bit darker, they're just reflections of the world that I see around me, the world that we're making for ourselves now. I really believe there's no point in editing your own soul. When you write a song, you just seize the moment. It's what you see and experience at that time. I really don't see why Western music can't have an edge and reflect the environment that we're in right now. or at least my view, the way I see the world. So there it is, a little bit of insight into what's gone into the making of this record, and that's enough from me. And it's getting a bit nippy here today in the old New Forest. So it's over to you. I hope with all my heart that you enjoy listening to this album as much as we've enjoyed making it, because it's been a magical experience. So folks, Soul of the West, I give to you. All the best. See you again soon.